So we're going to do the gauge swatch, but before we do the cast on, we need to measure out sufficient yarn that will allow us enough to cast on. So we're going to use the long tail method. So what I want you to do is measure out 50 centimeters of yarn and hold that to the left hand side. So now we're going to do the cast on, and what I want you to do is just create a little loop there and pull it through, and that will start you off on your row. So again, just create a little loop, pull through and tight, and insert your needle. That's the start, that's your first stitch for cast on. So what we're going to do now is just get your hands in position, and so what I want you to do is take your little pinky and wrap the yarn clockwise around your little pinky and then clockwise around your thumb. Let's go again. Take the yarn and wrap it clockwise around your little pinky and clockwise around your thumb. Then on the other hand, I want you to take the yarn and go anti-clockwise. So you've now got your hands in position for the cast on. So now that we have our hands in position, I want you to start the cast on. So what we're going to do is, holding that thumb out, we're going to put that needle into the loop and bring that yarn around. So that's your first stitch. Again, bring that loop around your thumb and poke in your needle and bring the yarn around. Again, bring the yarn around your thumb, poke it in and bring it. Now that we have our stitches cast on, you will see from the pattern that you have to knit the first 2 rows. So that's just plain knitting for the first 2 rows. Again, and I'm going to use the nursery rhyme, down the rabbit hole, around the tree, out the rabbit hole, pop goes she. So what we're going to do, this time you are again going to hold the yarn, and this is the yarn with the ball attached to it. It is, so what you're going to do is wrap it around anti-clockwise, and then you're going to knit into that stitch. So what we're going to do is go down the rabbit hole, around the tree, out the rabbit hole, pop goes she. So again, down the rabbit hole, around the tree, out the rabbit hole, pop goes she. One more time, down the rabbit hole, around the tree, out the rabbit hole, pop goes she, and continue that for this. So here we're coming up to the end of the row on the circular needles. So what you're going to do is just turn it around as if you were doing straight needles again, and just knit back across the row. So just continue back and forward as if you were on straight needles. This row. So for row 2, just continue the knit stitch again. Down the rabbit hole, around the tree, out the rabbit hole, pop goes she, and continue that for row 2. So for row 3, we are going to knit the first 2 stitches. So you're going to again down the rabbit hole, around the tree. So knit those first 2 stitches, and then what it's asking you to do is purl the next 2 stitches. So I want you to bring your yarn around to the front, and instead of going south into the loop, you're going to go west into the loop, and then you're going to bring your yarn around and pull it through like you would before. Again, having the yarn at the front, you are going to go west, wrap the yarn around and bring it through. And then for the next stitch, you're going to knit 1. Now you'll note that on the pattern it says with a little asterisk, purl 2 and knit 1. You're going to repeat that to the end, and then you're going to knit the last 2 stitches. So again, you're going to purl, go into the west of that loop, again into the west of that loop, and then knit south, then west, west, and continue that to the last 2 stitches, and then knit those 2 stitches. Now we're on row 4, and now that you know how to do your purl stitch, so the first 2 stitches you're going to purl those 2 stitches. Then you are going to keep that yarn at the front of your knitting, and you are going to slip this one, so you don't knit it, just slip it purl-wise. So you're going again into the west, but you're not knitting it, you're just pulling it off the needle. And then bring that yarn around and then knit the next 2 stitches. Again, you're going to bring the yarn around to the front, and you're going to slip that purlwise, again go into the west position and slip it off the needle and bring that yarn around and then knit 2. Again, you're going to bring that yarn around and then you're going to purlwise and then you're going to knit 2. And so continue that for the rest of the row. So we're now on row 5, and what we're going to do is, just for those first 2, is knit 2 as per the pattern, purl 2 as per the pattern, and then you're coming up to a new stitch is knit 1 into the back of the loop. And what that means is you're going to take that slip stitch from the previous row and you're going to knit into it. So knit south into it. Again, do your 2 purl stitches and then knit 1 into the back of the loop. Knit 1 into the back of the loop, and continue that for another 14 rows. A little lesson on measuring your gauge. So we're looking for 10 centimeters. So I would place that in the center of that rib and that rib, but because that's part of a pattern 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, that would be 13 stitches across for your 10. So for your rows, you're measuring 10 centimeters here again. So if I take that, I will take that stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I would pick that at 16 rows.